Net zero sounds great, but is it enough? So when we speak about architecture, then we often speak about net zero design and that we're making sure that our buildings are not needing any energy. But is it enough? Think about it. Even a tent would be net zero. Like if you put a solar panel outside and you're putting in a little cable to a solar light that maybe has a little battery that you can charge over the day, that's net zero. And now you have fulfilled your net zero design. Happy days. But is this the comfort that we want to live in? Same would be as well in summer when it's getting really hot, and in winter really cold. This is not the comfort that we want to speak about. So your net zero is not telling us if it's actually working. And that's the reason why net zero is not enough. We need to define the outcome of our design, not just on a balance sheet regarding energy in and energy out, as well what we want to achieve with the energy in between that balance sheet from in and out. And that's what we are talking about. We want to make it human-centric. Yeah, we want to make sure that our designs are human-centric, and there we're coming to Passivhaus. So what is actually Passivhaus?
So Passivhaus is where we're making sure that the people that live in a passive house are comfortable, they're healthy, and that's really sort of the human needs are met. And I think that's really, really important, not just saying, yes, I've designed something nice, but that people living in there are actually comfortable.
And you can measure it, like it's really clearly defined. So Passivhaus gives you a temperature range between 20 and 25 degrees. Yeah, so that's really clear. That's what we want to achieve. And then as well, we keep our relative humidity between 30% and 60%. Rather lower than 60% is what I normally recommend in your indoor air. And as well, your surfaces have temperatures that are designed. So you're really making sure that your human needs, what we need to feel healthy and comfortable and that we can drive, is defined in Passivhaus. And Passivhaus is then telling us what amount of energy we are allowed to use. You could now theoretically, to some extent, achieve that as well with far more energy. You normally don't get the same comfort levels in a not Passivhaus design compared to a Passivhaus. It has something to do with the environment, how the environment is interacting with us. So the energy efficiency is a nice thing that happens on the side as well on the way. But without the energy efficiency, we never have a surface temperature that has a small temperature difference between the indoor air and the surface. So for example, if you're having your brick building, no thermal insulation in it, then at one point you will have the heat radiating from your surfaces. And even if you have now only 18 degrees in your house, but you have now 30 degrees of radiation coming through, that difference of 12 degrees is giving us like the feeling that it's not good. Yeah, it's just creating a stress. Our sensors are getting two information, cold on one side and hot on the other side. And that's not really comfortable. Yeah, and that creates an internal stress. Sometimes we can't really feel it, like we're not feeling it consciously, but subconsciously, and our body is under stress if these measures are not right. And that's exactly all what Passivhaus is looking after. So you need to actually thermally insulate to come there. The thing that makes Passivhaus special is that it tells you really, really clearly how much energy you're allowed to use. But let's go back to the net zero. So we already understood that net zero means energy in and energy out. But net zero doesn't mean that I don't need any connection and other energy sources, because net zero is just, I needed, say, 500 kilowatt hours of energy. And then I produce 500 kilowatt hour of energy, but they're not overlinking, they're not connected, they're not necessarily happening at the same time. Like your lighting needs to happen at night, but your solar energy production happens in the day. So we need storage. And in the net zero calculation, we don't have the storage calculation there yet. That's the reason I normally like to use true net zero, where we actually consider the storage losses as well, and as well the seasonal storage losses. So we not only have to think about the energy that we need in a 24-hour cycle, we need to think as well of a seasonal energy storage. Like the summer is hotter, and it's hotter because we have more energy available. The sun is burning. Our real energy is all sun. Yeah, the energy that we're having on Earth is sun. We have a little bit of atomic energy, obviously, on uranium or something like that. Then we have the core of the Earth that we can use, and then we can use as well a little bit the moon and the sun as planets that are moving the water around. But they're really, really small in compared what the sun is giving us. Or we can use stored solar energy, in other words, our fossil fuel, our oil, our gas, that's all stored solar energy that has been actually stored back in the ages, and we are now taking it out, and it needed 300,000 years to be produced, and we're using it in 1 year. So it's not really sustainable in that way. But you know that stuff, like if you're in sustainable design. So net zero doesn't work. It works on paper, but it doesn't work in reality. And net zero means as well not that you're actually reducing your energy consumption. And the most sustainable energy is the energy that we don't use. Yeah, and that's what Passivhaus is standing for. And there's at the end 5 really clear principles that are super simple that we're following to achieve the energy efficiency. So maybe Julia, you want to explain the 5 principles in
Yeah,
a second.
absolutely. Like those five principles, we're always saying it's not rocket science. You have to just bring them together, all of them together. So the first one is we want continuous insulation, so a complete thermal envelope without any weaknesses. Then we want to have an airtight construction, making sure that we are controlling the air and controlling the comfort, and that our thermal insulation works properly. Then the third one is a thermal bridge-free detailing. So we don't want any weak spots. We don't want any high energy highways. Our fourth one is high performance glazing. So good windows, windows that will retain our warmth in winter and that not getting too much solar gains in summer. So we need to find the right balance with our windows, really important. And then our fifth and last Passivhaus principle or component, as we call it, is our heat recovery ventilation. So we've made our building airtight. We need to make sure that we get enough fresh air in. We want to make sure that it comes in a controlled manner, that we are in control of how much air we're putting in. And if we're putting it through mechanical ventilation, we can also make sure that it's filtered and not bringing in any nasty things from outside. So these are the 5 principles. And if you go with those, you're getting a very comfortable, healthy home.
So let's explain that in an experience as well. Think
Yes.
about your woolly jumper. Yeah, when you're putting on your woolly jumper, it makes you warm when you're inside, but if you're now stepping outside and it's windy, your woolly jumper is not working in it any longer. Yeah, you're getting cold because the trapped air that is actually your thermal insulation is not able to perform any longer. That's the reason we put our windbreaker over it. That's our air tightness system. Then when we go skiing, where we have as well a lot of air movement because we're going, say, downhill skiing, then your woolly jumper is not working either and you need to put on over your windbreaker. But if you're not putting on gloves on your hands, these are your thermal bridges, then you're as well having a lot of cold problems on your fingers. Like your whole body theoretically is warm, but your fingers are now freezing off. So you need to get rid of these thermal bridges, putting on gloves, putting on goggles. We are having now a full protection, but we still need to breathe. So we need to have a connection into our face mask, and that's the ventilation system. And we don't necessarily want to have energy losses in a house. For our body, it's not such a big problem because we're producing energy all the time. We're always running, but for our house, we want to keep the indoor condition indoors and the outdoor condition outdoors. And that's what the heat recovery is doing. It separates these 2 environments in a building. And that's the principle. So if you're new to Passivhaus, then maybe it makes sense for you to actually do our Passivhaus Designer Starter Kit. This is designed for you. It's totally free, and it is giving you 5 courses. Like, they're not really courses, but let me explain what you get. You get the benefits of living in a Passivhaus, so the benefits of your client, the benefits of Passivhaus design. So what is your benefit? Can you have a return of investment in there? What is it giving you? It's giving you at the end control over your design. Like, Passivhaus is taking the guesswork out of your design. You know what you're actually designing and what is the outcome. Then the third one is, what is Passivhaus design, to explain it a bit more technical. And then we have the preview of the certification course. That's the whole course to become a certified Passivhaus professional. And the readiness quiz. Are you ready to take the full course? So this is all there for you, free. 2 of the courses, they have CBT points, so you should get as well 2 points for your architects and engineers and all of you that need this constant professional development points. They are there as well, so you get a little certificate that you can actually hand in for that as well. So why not sign up for this? below there should be a link, or above, or on the right, or on the left. I don't know where it is nowadays, but there will be a link that you can get to the landing page, and you just put in your details, get it, and you can start learning and learn more about Passivhaus and how we can actually achieve the future building technology and how we can actually implement it. Because what we learned in university is not really the building physics and the building science. We learned how to make things good. And it is a little bit sad if your clients are saying, hey, I love the design, it looks amazing, but it's not livable. Yeah, like I'm not feeling comfortable in there. And that's not what we want to do. We want to create useful art, proper architecture. And there we need to think as well about the human-centric design and the energy efficiency to make sure that our planet stays like it is. Yeah, jump into the Passivhaus Designer Starter Kit. Somewhere is the link. Get it totally free, and you get already, I think, 6 hours of content totally free. So amazing. Jump into it. See you then. And if you like it and want to get more like this, subscribe as well. That's the other thing you can do.
Exactly. Bye.